Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? Happy St. Patty's Day. It's the SHW podcast. This is our wrestling. B-double Brandon Benefield, the great Gerard Bonner, and the lovely Diana Michelle. How is everybody feeling? Oh, look at you. You got the clover going on. Okay.
There I am.
Yes.
I
Somebody
don't
pinch
have anything-
GB. Somebody pinch him. Oh, there you go. All
There
right.
you
You're
go.
holding green.
There
Fair
we
enough.
go.
Fair enough.
I
Isn't
always
that
have
the
my
thing?
green.
Isn't that the thing? You get pinched if you're not wearing green, something like that,
Yes.
right?
I guess.
Yes.
You're lucky we're doing this remotely, GB.
I am lucky. Yes.
Otherwise.
Yes. Just green everywhere.
So how's everybody feeling? How's everybody's week been?
Tired, man.
Yeah.
Tired.
Yeah.
Tired. But I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you're out here building guns and lifting. See what I'm saying? Like guns, like geez, throwing
Yes.
people and whatnot. Like yeah.
Just in case I have to.
Well, exactly. You're preparing.
That's
So
right.
yeah, I'm doing good. Full week, but here we are. Always good to
Yeah.
be here with the SHW faithful, no doubt.
Absolutely.
So-
Here's the thing, though, and we talked about this last week. This break in between shows, it's killing me. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like it. I'm not a fan. I like to have, our little family reunion every month where we get to see all our SHW family and faithful. And
Yeah.
but so we still have a few weeks left before
do.
April 14th, SHW 49.
Yeah.
As far as we know, the title match between Corey Hollis and Gunnar Miller, that'll be our main event.
Mhm.
There's perhaps going to be a tag team match that I don't know if you guys saw this earlier in the week, the video that got released on social media where Sunny Days, Sal Renaro attacking the hierarchy of Joe Black and Murder One, which talk about a mistake. What are these guys thinking? We know that there's some screws loose. We know they're not all there. And clearly they just proved our point, because why in the world? That's like stirring up a hornet's nest. Why would you do something like that? It's crazy.
I'm nervous as what's going to come of that. It's just going to be madness all the way around.
Yeah.
All the way around.
Yeah. I mean, if we remember, of course, what Joe Black and Murder One did to each other at the last show, what will they do together? And so I don't know that Happy Madness should be out here picking fights. Maybe they're just upset because of whatever's going on with Dishonor and Joe Black and the like. Of course, if you missed what Murder One and Joe Black did to each other and why this even went down, SHW 48 is available for you right now on IWTV. So go ahead and check it out, which includes the announcement of our new matchmaker and all sorts of crazy things that happened that night. That's available on IWTV right now. And if you don't have a membership, it's super easy. Go to independentwrestling.tv, get your membership. And if you want the first 5 days free, use the promo code SHW. It's that easy.
Yeah, get all caught up. And that's the one plus I will say about having this long break is that you've got plenty of time to go back and watch the entire catalog of SHW shows, including the SHW documentary Hold Your Fork, which is a great backstory kind of explaining how SHW came to be and all that good stuff. So definitely want to check that out and get all caught up on the action heading into April 14th. But in the meantime, there's a big show coming up.
Yeah,
outside of SHW 49.
Yeah, this little bitty show that's gonna happen outside of SHW before we get to April the 14th. You guys might have heard of it. It's only been around, I don't know, 38, 39 years maybe. They call it WrestleMania, the showcase of the immortals, that show. The entire wrestling world is literally converging on LA SoFi Stadium WrestleMania week, which is literally 2 weeks from today. Matter of fact, 2 weeks from tonight, you got the Hall of Fame happening and all sorts of other wrestling promotions. Who knows? Southern Honor might do a show around Wrestling Week one time, WrestleMania week for sure. Rey Mysterio certainly will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I see that beautiful mask there that you have, Brandon. And so, last week we kind of had this really cool show that I appreciate all the feedback that we had. So much fun that we had with that show, kind of putting together our own SHW Super Show if we were the matchmakers. It was kind of fun. And so as we are just a couple of weeks from WrestleMania, I thought there's kind of a two-part thing we're going to do. Part one looks like this. I want to know what your favorite WrestleMania matches are of all time, right? And I'll leave it to your, say, top 5. Your top 5 favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. Now, while they're thinking of this, of course, the very first WrestleMania, 1985, some of you probably weren't even born yet, in Madison Square Garden, doing a thing called closed circuit TV. Don't know what that is? Well, let's put it to you this way. People actually paid money to go into movie theaters and arenas to watch WrestleMania on a giant screen. This predated pay-per-view into homes and things like that. We didn't really start to see that till around WrestleMania 3, 1987. So many significant matches happened there. And there have been amazing moments, amazing eras, a lot of things. And I really do love how WrestleMania itself has really become a global type of event that really now unites the entire wrestling world, as lots of wrestling promotions find themselves present during WrestleMania week. Independent promotions, national promotions, they're all finding their way there. So that makes this even more interesting because WrestleMania is in the fabric of who we are as wrestling fans and as a wrestling community. It is, some call it the Super Bowl of wrestling. I call WrestleMania, I call the Super Bowl the WrestleMania of football. That's what I call it. The World Series is the WrestleMania of baseball. And so this is all going down April the 1st and 2nd, but it's a good time to kind of have that conversation. I know you all have watched matches at WrestleMania historically. So let's see what our top 5 matches from WrestleManias gone by have been.
This is going to be more difficult than last week.
Is it really? I thought this would be easier.
No, because one, I'm not very good at remembering when these matches actually occurred. I just know
that's okay. It's just knowing that
there.
they happen. You don't necessarily have to pinpoint which WrestleMania they were. It's just telling
or
us
even if it was a WrestleMania. That's my problem.
Oh, well, now I can help you with that, of course.
Of course. You can tell me when it was, where it was, who was in the front row, and what color trunks everyone was wearing. I know.
It's true.
It's true.
By the way, speaking of GB knowing his WrestleManias, help me out here, GB. Was it 25 where you're sitting second row with the camera?
Yes.
All right. And I know in past episodes of this podcast, we have discussed this, but for anybody that may have missed it, go back, watch Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25, and throughout the match, actually throughout the entire show, but specifically that match, keep an eye on like the second row across from the hard cam, and there's a guy with a camera who looks an awful lot like Gerard Bonner, our commentator for SHW.
And his face is priceless.
So anyway.
Oh yeah, WrestleMania has been fun. I had it's crazy because my first one was 22 in Chicago, and I was, definitely sitting up, certainly not on the front row or anything like that. But what's wild is they found me in there, and I was used in a number of promos for upcoming matches and DVDs and foolishness like that. I was just like, are you kidding me? So it's kind of hilarious how the camera finds me. It's very weird, but be that as it.
On that note, since you brought that up, well, I guess talking about being on camera at WrestleMania, Corey Tatum from Wrestling Snapshots just posted the other day. He's going back and he's kind of watching through old stuff, getting ready to watch the new WrestleMania coming up in a couple of weeks. Yeah. And I remember when this happened. This was like, I guess 2 years ago. Would have been 2019. So whatever number Mania that was.
That was 34.
But that was our buddy Mossman. Adrian Moss was wearing his SHW t-shirt, and clear as day, he's cheering like this. And he made it into all kinds of like highlight packages and the behind the scenes documentary or whatever, just a number of things with the SHW logo clear as day, which I thought was a pretty cool shot.
Gotta love it.
That logo is so distinct. I love it.
Absolutely.
It really
And I remember when that happened initially, and then it was cool because Corey just happened to be, so he never saw it a couple years ago, apparently.
Right.
And he
Oh,
said
wow.
he just happened to be watching through the old Mania. I was like, hey,
That's
I know that
crazy.
guy and I know that shirt.
Right.
Wait a second.
Right.
I thought that was
That's
cool.
awesome. That is
But
awesome.
okay. This might be like last week, GB, where I like have to go through and I'll throw them out
No problem.
occasionally. I won't
No
be able to
problem.
just rattle off 5 real quick.
No
No
problem.
way.
And if I'm being honest, not to bring down the episode here, but at one point in time, what was my favorite has been pretty much erased from history. So I won't even really get into that.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
But I was there
it's
for that
probably
one.
from
And
20.
I got to see it live. It was WrestleMania 20. But I'm not going to. That one has been scratched from my list. But at one point,
Interesting.
that would have been on there. But from that same show, though, just because of the coolness factor of this, it was Evolution taking on the Rock and Sock Connection from WrestleMania 20. And Rock had been gone for a long time. He came back to help out Mick Foley and reform the Rock and Sock Connection. It was a 2-on-3 match. You had Batista and Flair and Orton taking on the Rock and Sock, which was a fun match.
Yeah.
So I'll throw that on my list just because there's going to be a couple that maybe in the big scheme of things weren't that impactful of a match, but just the fact that I got to be there live to see it, I think just adds a
It is a big deal.
I got to be at 20 and 21 in 20 was in New York, and then 21 in LA, and then 27
the LA one. Dope.
Yeah, and then the first WrestleMania goes Hollywood.
Yes.
And now they're doing it again this year, but
right.
And then 27, which was in Georgia, was at the Georgia Dome. Yeah,
that's right.
Anyway, so those are the cards I'm kind of looking at first, just to kind of get a refresher.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Sweet. That's a great match to start with.
I gotta also throw in, I think, Austin and Bret Hart at
from 13.
13. Yeah, and here's another thing to keep in mind real quick. Now, GB, I know you go way back. You're the encyclopedia, we say all the time, of the history of WWE and just pro wrestling in general. I didn't start watching until late 90s, 96, 97. And early on, being down here in Georgia, and the buddies I was hanging with that got me into it were WCW guys. So my first watching WrestleMania, I remember watching live at a friend's house, and it was 19. Which was Austin and Rock 3, I think, and it was Austin's final match before he retired from in-ring wrestling. But so I almost want to say that one too.
Yeah, well,
there was a lot of good matches at 19. There was like Jericho and Michaels was great.
That's right. That's right.
Main event was Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, when Brock watched the Shooting Star Press and somehow walked away from it
with a concussion. Amazing.
Oh yeah. But all right, I got some picking and choosing to do here.
Okay.
Anyways, somebody else.
So that's 2. That's great. That's great. Diana, have you picked one yet?
I've got a few in mind. You just have to tell me when it happened and if it was WrestleMania.
Well, that's important.
One I remember, I don't know exactly. I don't know why I remember it, but it was just always iconic to me. Was all things wrestling. If it's not NWA or WCW, it was WWF. So when I think about WrestleMania, it's got to be Hulk and Andre. It's got to be Hulk and Andre.
That's number 3.
That just made me. That was larger. I mean, that was just larger. All the lights and just the magnitude of both of those individuals and their fan base, and I mean, it's huge. So that's a big one.
Yeah, no, that's a very big one. Very big one. WrestleMania 3, that was an iconic WrestleMania, 93,000 people, Pontiac Silverdome. Interesting story behind that, by the way, where they said that, the interesting story is they said that they only put tickets for WrestleMania 3 on sale like January of that year, and it was in March. They sold that out in like 5 weeks, which is insane. Because this is 87. This isn't social media. This isn't, all of that type of stuff. So it's amazing. And for many, many years, it held the world indoor attendance record. And it was the largest attended WrestleMania for many years until 32 changed that. So yeah, that's a great choice. Great choice, Diana. Great choice.
Yeah.
What do you
I'm
got,
going through-
GB?
I'm going through my list, and there's a lot on here. I'll start with TLC 2 at WrestleMania 17.
Okay.
That was the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian in that TLC match. And kind of the iconic moment is Edge hitting that spear on Jeff Hardy off of the top of the ladder, and he DDTs himself on the ground. Like, it was just crazy. That match was nuts.
Yeah,
It was
somebody could have
nuts.
completely died in that one.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That is a go-to for me. I really, really love that particular match.
Which one was that again? I might have to go back.
WrestleMania 17.
17.
Yeah, that also had Austin Rock as a main event, and that was 2.
There was one.
That was
it was
2.
2. Yeah, 15 was
2.
one, right? Was it 15,
15
17,
was
and
1.
19?
That's right.
Okay.
15, 17, 19. That's right.
Yeah.
And that was infamous because Austin ends up joining with McMahon, which we never thought we would ever see. So crazy times, that good old WrestleMania 17. Very good.
Here's one.
Yes.
This is a total joke. Akibono and Big Show in the sumo match at WrestleMania 21.
Okay, I've never heard anybody.
I'm kidding. That's a joke.
Okay. I was like,
no,
wow.
That's a joke.
Okay.
That's not real. I'm just going through the card of 21, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that match.
Yeah, they pulled the ropes down for that one too.
Yeah,
which was odd.
It was a sumo match.
Yes,
not so much.
Didn't we all want to see the Big Show in the
Rikishi garb?
Yes.
Even though it still covers a lot, there's still a whole lot of exposure.
No, it didn't cover that much. It was way too much. It's just, yeah.
There was also a Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels at 21, which was
huge match,
which was pretty amazing.
Huge match.
I have a few Shawn favorites there.
He's Mr. WrestleMania. Mr. WrestleMania is Shawn Michaels. So
you can't have it without him, right?
Yeah.
The Flair Shawn Michael match, the retirement match.
24. Yeah.
Thank you. I love you. Yeah.
Yes. Is that on your list?
I'm sorry. I love you. What was it? I'm sorry. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm
sorry.
sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'll get it right.
So is that on your list? Okay. That's a great one. That's a great one.
Jeez, most of these are with him.
That was great. I was there for that one live too. That was phenomenal.
Really?
Phenomenal.
I've been a tears.
Yeah, I saw grown men cry. It was powerful. I have to share some of my pictures from that one. That was a really cool one.
Yeah.
What number did you say that was?
Totally should.
That was from 24.
24.
That's right.
24 in Orlando.
Because you did 24, 25.
I did 22 to 25. I did all 4 of those, and then I did 30.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this next one, I'm going to go to 35 for Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE World Championship.
Yes.
Now, I will tell you on record, that is the first match that I legitimately cried. I shed tears that night, and I can't talk about it too much or else I might shed another one. It was a very, very special moment. Special night, and so yeah, that definitely makes my list.
Yes, very much so.
Oh yeah,
Kofi Mania.
That was on my list too, as well. So
Kofi. Oh, cool. Kofi Mania.
Yeah. And kind of on that same note, excuse me, is you just mentioned Daniel Bryan, but when Daniel Bryan won, was it 30 in New Orleans?
Yes.
Yeah, and when he won in a triple threat match, against all odds, overcoming
who was in that match? Anyway.
The yes movement in full effect.
Yeah.
It was Orton and Triple
Batista.
Batista. And did he have to beat somebody going into it?
Yes, he beat Triple H to start that.
That's what it was. Yeah,
to qualify to get into that match.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He's not the smallest guy in that whole bit, right?
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys, the atmosphere in New Orleans for that was insane. Like literally, you were walking down the street and people were chanting yes.
That's awesome.
It was we were sitting in a restaurant before it started, and people would walk by and we'd all start chanting yes in the restaurant, out of the restaurant, and people were like, what is going on? Why are you doing that? It was very, what a night that was.
I'm sure
What a-
the people of New Orleans come to find out pretty quickly what was going on, because everybody had
yes.
to have been doing it down there. So
They were.
that's
They were.
awesome.
When
It was
WrestleMania
incredible.
comes down and takes over your whole freaking whatever,
It
Yeah.
really
that's,
does.
that's like a whole large village coming into your city. It's just
Totally.
you're gonna figure some things out. If you don't know,
Absolutely.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
right. That's right.
For sure.
Very good. Okay. That was you, Brandon. Okay, so Diana, did you have another?
Oh,
You
yeah.
did.
I
Okay.
have Taker versus Triple H with Shawn Michaels as the referee.
Hell in a Cell. That's actually on my list too.
Nice.
That was WrestleMania.
That was 28, and that
28.
was Hell in a Cell. That was the end of an era match.
Yes.
And it's safe for me to say this. I always believed that should have been Undertaker's final match.
Just let it be, right?
Just let it end at 20-0.
And there would be no Goldberg mess up or anything. I mean,
yeah.
Love you, Bill, but
yeah. Yeah. So that one was on my list as well. So I will. Well, I guess I could take it off and add another one.
I mean, it sounds like a plethora of stuff to pick from. I'm over here struggling.
Right. I'm gonna go way back to WrestleMania 3 and grab the classic Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage match.
God, we're insane.
We're there.
Mm-hmm.
That match.
That was a bonus.
Yeah, that stood the test of time for many as like one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. And it was one of the first times where you saw a match that stole the show. You know, everybody came for Hogan Andre, but they left talking about Steamboat Savage. And it was just, I mean, it still it still stands the test of time. If you go watch that match, you're just like, yo, this is incredible.
Yeah.
This is incredible. And they did it in 87, which is like, wow.
Well, when you want to learn, you have to watch how it's really done. And
absolutely.
And I would think if I wanted to be a wrestler, I would go back and watch the earlier 80s. I mean, NWA and NWF, definitely.
The psychology
era, all that. Greg Valentine.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Connecting with crowds, and it was special. It was special. And this might end up for some fans, this might end up being kind of a homework assignment to go check out some of these matches, because they were really, really special. Yeah. And they influenced a lot of the folks that you see in SHW today. So for sure.
Yeah, like Diana said, you got plenty of time. So while you're also catching up on the SHW shows, you can also go back and catch up on some of these classic matches. Classic, kind of like I mentioned, WrestleMania 27 at the Georgia Dome. A classic, kind of like this one, Michael Cole versus Jerry the King Lawler. Anybody? Crickets? Crickets? I'm looking back at this 27 card. We finally get a WrestleMania here in Atlanta. And man, there was some stinkers on that card. We also had a tag match with Snooki. Like, come on, man.
Come on. Not with the madness. Come on.
You had a Great Khali winning a battle royale. So there's that. There's there was some. It was a rough one. I've been chomping at the bit to get another WrestleMania here in Atlanta. So
I've been wondering why we don't have another one.
We've got a new stadium since the last one's at the Georgia Dome. Now we got Mercedes-Benz stadium, and I'm like, ever since that got built, I was like, certainly they're going to bring it back to Atlanta. But
I've been waiting all this time, and so I'm starting to wonder.
Let's see. How many have I said?
This one is not going to be one of my favorites, but I think it's memorable. If I'm correct, is when Lesnar broke the streak.
Yes, you are correct. That was at
not
30.
not one of my top, because I didn't really like Lesnar. Right now, I'm dealing with him. But he's never been one of my favorites, and I didn't want him to break it. But yeah, that's memorable. That's a big deal.
It is memorable. Being there for that one was absolutely nuts. It was the air that left the room. Like,
Yeah.
I've never been in a space where it literally felt like time stood still.
Yeah.
Like when that 3 count happened, we all were just like, wait, what just happened?
That was
And
not really a 3, right? It was like,
right. Like
okay.
literally the time between that and them announce, because it felt like a year between when that 3 count happened and when they announced the winner, and then the graphic went up for 21-1. We were done. We were
For
done.
me, it's like you can't get bigger than Taker. It doesn't matter what
Right.
you do, who does what. You can't get bigger than Taker. And though Brock Lesnar is a big deal, I mean, he's got a huge match coming up this year.
Yeah.
But even though he's a big deal, him winning that was like, yeah, he's good, he's great. He probably could do that to anybody, but he beat Taker, really, and it was just kind of, fizzled out, and it wasn't a big deal. That, oh, really, this guy? It was more of a disappointment than anything, and I'm sure that's what they were going for. But for me, it was just like, okay, this is going to be remembered forever because you broke the streak of Taker, but you're not worthy, right? I mean, is that what I'm feeling? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
It's been debated ever since it happened.
It really has.
Yeah. Also, didn't we find out after the fact that didn't Taker got concussed like early in the match?
He did.
And went through the whole thing a little loopy, which is it's insane
Which,
to me that guys can do that. First of all,
it is.
Like I mentioned, the Kurt Angle Brock Lesnar match. Brock botched the came up short of the shooting star.
that's my point.
It's crazy that they can I remember Kurt Angle saying later that he's telling Brock, give me another F5, like we got to do something here. And the fact that in a concussed state of mind he can get up and still
unreal
perform, it's insane.
Not your guts out,
right?
Right.
Well, you could tell when the match was over. You could look in his eyes, and he was gone. Like he was just like
glazed.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Mm.
Yeah, jeez. Whew. Okay. All right. Since two of mine were said, so I can leave those off, and I will go back to, and I just rewatched this earlier this week. WrestleMania 18, The Rock versus Hulk Hogan.
Oh. Yeah.
That match, to me, I think it was the first time that the fans hijacked WrestleMania. Because going into that, it was the full intent that Hogan was going in as the bad guy. The Rock was clear as the good guy. I mean, even
Hollywood, right?
It's Canada. It was Canada, man. They always call it Bizarro World when you go up there. They cheer
but
the
what's
bad guys.
crazy is going back and watching it. Rock did this promo before, and he was in his Rock bag. I mean, like he was just, and they were cheering him like crazy. But Hogan comes out, and then it's just like they literally switched roles for the match until the very end, where when Rock nips up and gets ready for the people's elbow, the people love him again. It's the oddest thing I have ever seen, and I felt like. Well, yeah, but it changed the course of wrestling history because a month later, Hogan would win the world title, which he wasn't supposed to win, and I still feel WWE was so ill prepared for that. Yeah. If you go back and watch it, Hogan's doing his pose down to no music. Like, it's odd. Normally when he does the pose down, it's to Real American. They didn't even have Real American available to them right then. So it was because they weren't prepared for this. It was just that off.
How weird would it have been if they had either the NWO music or the Jimi Hendrix, whichever they were going to use, and him doing the Real American kind of mannerisms? That would have been very odd. They
could have, but they ended up playing after it. They ended up playing the Rock's music, which I was like, this day and age, they would have had it on a hard drive.
They got fired.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened now. That's for sure.
And then you've heard over the years, we've definitely heard Chris Jericho do interviews talking about where he had the match with Triple H for the Undisputed Championship, and they were the main event.
Yes.
But he will even say, he's like, we were not the main event of that show. It's like, there's no way anybody could have followed Rock and Hogan. And I'm just looking at the card now, and I didn't even remember. But right after that match was actually Jazz versus Trish Stratus, and then it was Triple H and Chris Jericho. So I would have hated to have to follow Rock and Hogan. That's insane.
Insane.
Yeah,
insane.
All right. So where are we at? Who's got what?
All
How many?
right.
How many we
I
got here?
think for some reason I only have you down here for 3, Brandon.
I'm at
The
3.
rest of us have 4. Actually, Diana has 5.
All right.
I have
What 3 do you have for me?
Evolution versus Rock and Sock,
Okay.
Austin versus Brett, and then Daniel Bryan, Batista, and Orton.
Okay. Give me Austin Rocket 19.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
throw that one on there too.
Okay.
Like I said,
All
19 had a bunch of good ones, but
It did.
it's hard to pick because there was also the Kurt Brock Lesnar, there was the Jericho Shawn Michaels,
A lot of great matches on
but
that
I
one.
think I'll lean towards Austin Rock just because of the significance of it being Austin's
Sure.
official final match
Right.
as a full-time roster or wrestler.
Mhm.
So now I'm at 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got one more.
I have 5.
Oof.
Yes.
Really?
You have Hogan, Andre,
Mhm.
HBK and Flair, Kofi,
Mhm.
Daniel Bryan, Taker and Triple H, Hell in a Cell, and then Taker and Lesnar.
Okay, well, that was better than I thought.
I was
See?
looking at 27 as well. At 27, again, the main event was, no disrespect to Miz, but it was Miz defeating
John
Cena.
Cena.
And of course, Rock.
But-
Rock was the host that year, the host of Mania, and he'd been gone for a
Yes.
while. I have a fond memories of that Mania because when I worked with the radio station, we got to go down like a day or two before and do like Radio Row and interview a bunch of the wrestlers that came through. And The Rock didn't actually come through Radio Row, but he was set up on the end like his own little table, and it was the foreign press that got to. I think we had missed like our opportunity to be down there, but then we overheard that he was going to be down there again. It was all the foreign press, and so we just kind of snuck over there with them. And there's all these people asking questions. Of course, they're all speaking with different accents from different parts of the world. And the guy that was with me chimed in, "Hey, Rock, how do you feel about being back in Atlanta?" And I just remember The Rock just kind of had that look like, clearly that guy's not part of the foreign press. And he just kind of, he answered the question politely and everything. It was just kind of a funny thing. It was a guy, Kent, that was with us. And he talks kind of country, and he's clearly not part of the foreign press.
Well,
But,
it's foreign.
Yeah, well, yeah, it depends on where you're from, I guess. But
Yeah.
I mean, some of us understand it, but not everyone.
right.
That's funny.
So it was kind of just that whole WrestleMania. I hold fondly, but now I kind of forgot how the card looked until I just went back and looked at it. I'm like, oh wow,
Yeah.
there's a few
Yeah.
on there that's like, really.
Yeah.
But no offense to the Miz. The Miz really has earned his stripes over the years. You know, he gets a bad rep, I think, a lot of the time, but you know, coming out of from the real world and the reality shows, like, who's this punk coming in to the wrestling world? But you know, he's earned his way up.
He's just obnoxious. He loves
Yeah,
it.
he does his
fits.
job. He's doing his
Yes,
job.
definitely.
Absolutely.
Bryce Cannon is an example. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I mean,
he's good at what he does. But
Yeah.
so I forget my train of thought where I was going with that. But I was going to say, I know where it was. I know where it was. So out of that whole card, on that card was also like a 30-minute match. It was a no holds barred match between Taker and Triple H.
Yes.
And so of the whole card, I would say that was probably the best match on the card. But I do remember, and my sister and I went to this one, and we were way up in the nosebleeds at the Georgia Dome, but it took forever for Taker to like leave the ring. They brought a cart down to the ring. And I remember thinking, like, I don't know if this is part of the show, or did he really get knocked out? Like, is he really injured?
He was messed up.
And we were way up top, you know, too. So it was like hard to tell, like, how, if this is like serious, if it's part of the, part of the story. Like, I don't know. It was just hard to tell. But I do remember that being like a really good match. I'm not saying I'm going to put that as my number 5,
Okay.
but I'm just spitballing here. Who else doesn't have 5 yet?
Just me.
bonus.
Okay.
Oh, you got a bonus one?
Yes, because you got to shout out to the first ever women's main event in WrestleMania. You have
Absolutely.
to. You have to.
Absolutely.
That was a game changer for the ladies.
Absolutely.
So Rhonda Beggs and Charlotte for the winners take all.
There you go.
That's right.
I got mine, but you go ahead, GB.
I'm going to do, what did I do? Oh yeah, I'm gonna do Taker HBK from WrestleMania 25. I have to do that. That match was just, it was another one that you couldn't follow. You could not follow, and they tried. Again, Triple H caught in that vortex of having to follow, a main event like that. But it was It was incredible. I've got tons of other matches I can grab, but that one was amazing.
Well, so that's the thing. It's like just like the SHW thing we did last week. It's hard to pick what which people we want to see out of the whole roster and out of the history of all the different matches. Same with WrestleMania. There's so many classics. It's the showcase of the immortals. I mean, it's just
absolutely
everything about WrestleMania is so big and huge, and it's just hard to narrow it down to 5. But I'll never forget Seth Rollins, the heist of the century.
Oh, yes.
Where he came in, cashing in the Money in the Bank, and just the shot of him waving the title around his head. You know what? Help me out though. What number was that?
31.
31. There you go. So that I'll throw that as my number 5. Again, though.
Okay. Yeah.
With the disclaimer that it's
which
hard
part the match him cashing
the whole thing.
In?
Because that was his portion of the match, I suppose. Because I'm trying to remember like how, because they were like pretty into the match by the time he came in. So
they were.
But yeah, I guess just the whole it counts as the whole match. We'll just count the whole match.
For sure. Seth versus Brock versus Roman.
Sure.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. So all right, I got one more question and then my last one, and then I'm done. So now I'd like to find out your this might be a little easier because it's fewer to choose from. Your 3 favorite WrestleManias, top to bottom.
Okay, I got mine.
No clue.
Okay. Oh, that was quick. Yeah.
Well, mine just strictly on the fact that I got to be at them. So 20, 21, and 27. Just because there's nothing like being there. Like GB, you know this because you've been to 5 or 6 or however many. So you know this. Like there's just, I love getting together and having WrestleMania parties and watching on the TV with a bunch of friends, and you know, it's awesome too. But there's just nothing like being there live. Especially like the one in Atlanta was cool. It was a lot cheaper just because I wasn't having to pay for a hotel and the flight and everything. But there's something about the like traveling for a WrestleMania and making like a weekend out of it where you're catching multiple events like that. The LA one, we got to go to the Hall of Fame. That was the one Hogan, Stallone inducted Hogan. And if you go back and watch the DVD, or I guess maybe it's on the network somewhere, but you clear as day could see me in the crowd, you know, cheering. I was like, hey, there I am. What's funny about that, just a quick side note, is when we got into town that Saturday, we had just gotten into town, dropped our bags off, hopped in a cab. I've never been to LA. I don't know. I've always heard the traffic's bad, but I don't know where we're trying to get to. We just hailed a cab, took it, sat in traffic. By the time we got there, most of the show was over. Stallone was on stage inducting Hogan, but we got to our seats, so we got to see that. And while we were there, we got clearly on TV. Like, so when you see it, you're like, hey, there they are. But we literally had just walked in for that part. So
that's so
crazy. I was kind of bummed we paid for the tickets and only caught the tail end of it. But anyways, and then going to New York was freaking awesome too. I mean, I've been to New York a few times, but to actually go for WrestleMania
at Madison Square Garden,
absolutely. So, those would be my 3: 20, 21, and 27.
That's sweet. Diana,
I have no idea. I know it. I know. Usually, when Mania is on, I'm home, and down here. None of my friends get me when it comes to wrestling. So there's no WrestleMania party, but I have a ton of guys and girls that, well, actually most of the guys we're on.
If you move up here, you can have a party with
one
us.
day. One day we can just all do it. But we're usually like having a messenger party, I guess. So everybody's on, and we're just talking about everything, and it's like berserk, and you just like turn into drinking games. It's just whatever. But any and everything before COVID, of course. So I'm going to say the first 2 before COVID, and maybe not the last one, but the one before last one.
So 37. So not last year, but the year before. Okay.
And then the 2 before COVID. Those are the ones I remember as far as being able to sit down and just interact with people that I connect with. So those are memorable for me. So.
Okay. This is hard, obviously. I definitely have 30 in there because, from the Daniel Bryan chase to Taker streak to the rise of Cesaro, and it was that was a big one. 17 just is it's heralded so high by so many people, gonna go at 35 also because of Kofi Mania, because of women main eventing, Seth beating Brock to start the show. And I think that was the one Yolanda Adams sung, the
Yes.
America the Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go with those. Though it's so tough. And obviously I'm excited about this one coming up this year.
I was
You were
gonna
gonna say
say, I was just gonna say, we talked about what our favorites were from the past.
yes.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say, when you ask me this question next year, I have a feeling that I'm going to also add to the list the main event of this year's WrestleMania. And I'm not saying I know what's gonna happen. I just feel
Yeah.
like it's gonna be a huge moment. And here's the thing. Yeah, we're a little biased on this end because it's a hometown guy in the main event, main eventing for the first time for the biggest prize in the land.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's any secret. The fans out there, they know our affiliation with the Nightmare Factory. And how freaking cool will it be if next year or, in a few weeks, we could say, hey, yeah, look who the champ is. And
We'll just go up
our
to
guy.
the training center and he'll be there with his titles.
I
That'd
mean,
be really cool.
it's insane what we have been able to be a part of over these last few years. That
Yes.
GB stumbling into the commentary booth with me in 2019, and Diane showing up that same night, and then what all has happened and transpired over the last 3 years, whatever it's been. And I mean, it's just been insane. So it's just cool little things like that. It's like, hey, I mean, we're this guy's in the main event of WrestleMania, and not only that, but then you have guys like
And he was at Southern Honor.
yeah, he was at Southern Honor, but then that's where I was going with it. So then you have guys like Austin Theory, who was a roster member for Southern Honor just a few years ago, and he's in a huge marquee match with John Cena.
Well, and you are now perfectly segueing without even knowing into what my final question is. I love how this happens. And that is this. You get to pick 3 people from SHW to be a part of this year's WrestleMania. Who goes and who do they face?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, let me just put the caveat out there. I don't even know if that's the right word, but the disclaimer out there, just so because just like last week, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. No. This is totally just kind of off the cuff. This isn't picking favorites. You know what I mean? So I don't want anybody to be like, hey, how come we didn't want me to go to WrestleMania? I'm just, so let me just say that first. And now let me think. So you said pick 3?
Yeah. So you're picking 3 people
from our
SHW,
roster.
yes, to go to WrestleMania. Who are they and who do they fight?
And they're fighting somebody on the WWE
roster. They're fighting somebody, yes, on the WWE roster.
Gotcha. Well, okay, I got one.
This is supposed to be the easy part of this. Okay.
And I mentioned this match last week because I think GB mentioned it. I think it was GB wanted to see it at an SHW Super Show. And I said, actually, I think that match has happened one time before. So here's what I'm going to say. I want to see Joe Black, current SHW roster, run it back with Austin Theory, current WWE roster, for the US title.
Yeah.
So there's one for me. That's
okay,
one.
Let me write that down for you.
Wow.
Okay. Because we already know that's going to be a great match. They've had a match before. And but to see him on the grandest stage of them all for a big title like that, I mean that's huge. All right, couple more. Let's see. GB always comes in with these tough questions, man. I'm telling you. The hard-hitting questions.
That's
what he does, man. That's what he does.
I'm gonna have to work on my faces.
The what? Your faces?
My face, because when I'm confused or lost, I have the worst faces.
Oh, and you can see yourself on the screen. So
yeah,
you're fine. You're fine. I was like, what are you talking about?
No clue.
I see what you mean.
Yes.
You're giving me good thumbnails to use for the video.
Yes. All right. I have my 3. I feel good about this.
Oh,
You
you
have
have
three
your
already?
three. I
I have
want
my
one.
three.
Go ahead and give us one.
Okay. So you mentioned Joe Black.
Hmm.
Of course, I'm sending Joe Black. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Okay.
But maybe I'll save that one. I'll save that one. Well, no, I already said it, so I got to do it. All right. I was going to say. So Joe Black, I would have him go to LA to fight for the Intercontinental Championship against Gunther.
Oh, man. Talking about a chop fest. My
Yes.
goodness.
Yes.
Mm.
That would be sick.
Mm.
That
Mm.
would be sick.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, I have no freaking
Mhm.
idea.
There you go.
Oh,
Somebody's tagging Joe right now. I can see
yeah,
they're tagging him right
yeah.
now. You need to hear this. Yep. Yeah.
So I have an SHW in mind. I'm trying to think of who I would put him against.
Mhm.
Well, don't wait on me. I'm still racking my brain here.
All right, I got you then. Let's go. Even though I'm not really sure Seth's gimmick at this point, but what I was going to say is our savior versus the Messiah. So you got
I could
David
go with that.
Ali.
That would
David
be
Ali.
cool.
Yeah, David
would be-
Ali
That'd be
versus
fun.
Seth Rollins.
That'd be
That would
fun.
Not necessarily for any, title or anything,
Sure.
but just
sure.
maybe a stipulation match. I don't know what it would be though.
Mhm.
But anyways, definitely one-on-one with those two guys.
That'd
I
be
think
great.
would be a lot of fun.
That'd be great.
David
Let's
would
do
have
tag.
to put David in the big red shoes like Seth, and they could have a.
What in the world? Somebody needs to talk to him.
That's funny.
That.
It's so funny that you say that because I have a buddy at work, right? And his wife, my buddy's wife, isn't really that into wrestling. However, ever since Seth has started wearing these crazy outfits, she'll kind of start peeking in like on Mondays when he's watching Raw, just to be like, oh, what's Seth wearing tonight?
Well,
That's awesome.
for a minute, I was like, "Oh my God, he's raiding Becky's closet." But now lately, I'm like, "She wouldn't wear that." There's no, she wouldn't wear that.
Right.
That's
Terrible.
funny.
All right,
right.
let's just let's take a long stretch here just for the
All
fun
right.
of it. Exotic Youth, the tag team, Exotic Youth, whatever combination they want to be in, versus say the Street Profits.
Oh, that would be fun.
That would be fun, right?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of hype there.
Yes.
I think
The
the energy
promos would be fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking the build up to the match would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The promos by themselves.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, my second match looks like this. The two-time Technical Wrestler of the Year and former tag team champion Chip Day,
Yeah.
who deserves a spot at WrestleMania.
He does.
Golly, I want to see this. Chip Day to take on Ricochet.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I forget about Ricky.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that'd be fun.
Huh.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You got one more, Brandon.
I know.
Two more, Diana.
I'm thinking, Diana, if you got something, you just go ahead and go for it.
Let's do I can't even think of his name. Oh, Cedric Alexander
Okay.
versus Carly.
Uh-huh.
So you took one of mine.
Oh, did I?
I was thinking of Carly, but I was trying to figure out who I could put him with.
Oh, I got a match. Well, I'll not give that away. I guess
But Cedric when he was
that'd be great though.
Yeah.
Cedric back when he was mixed up with Alicia Fox, that era of Cedric, because I really liked him then.
Okay.
Now, he's kind of blended in. I liked him then.
Sweet. Okay. Brandon?
You know what? I'm just gonna go Danny J versus Lita. Because I know that Lita is one of Danny J's like favorites of all time. And so I just think that could be a cool
that would be cool.
A cool match to see.
That
I know
would be
Danny.
cool.
I know Danny would be up for it.
For sure.
Like, oh my God, Lita. It's Lita.
Yes.
So yeah, let's go Danny versus Lita.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be awesome.
No, Matt, no, nothing really involved. Well, unless one of them has a title, maybe Lisa's defending the women's title.
Yeah,
If we're just fantasy booking here.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I know she's a current tag champ, but I'm just whatever.
Yeah.
We could make it a tag match. I just don't know who to put Danny with. It obviously would be Lita and Trish.
I'm still going for Kenzie and Danny to tag somewhere. So how?
Ooh, well, yeah.
Really, I think they would do well together as a tag.
And you know, Kenzie's held the NWA Women's Tag Team title. So
indeed,
she holds the title currently, does she not?
No, because
somebody.
It's another team. Like they literally lost it that same night.
Okay.
It's really crazy.
Okay.
Anyway. All right, so that'll be my third one.
Okay.
One more from me. What you got, GB?
So my third pick would be Carly Bravo, sending him to Mania. Bad news and tattoos against Finn Balor.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There you go.
That would be pretty fire, I think.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fire.
How about Judas versus Damian Priest?
I like that. I like that.
Yep.
They're kind of the same build and height and
they're both
dark, you know.
Yeah, both dark.
Yeah. I like that. So yeah, I wanted to see, as we're in Mania season, how fun it would be to see what we like in terms of Mania, but then how our guys would fare up against them, because I do believe we have people who are ready to be on the SHW stage. Oh, I forgot one other thing. The special ring announcer would be Diana Michelle.
Of course.
Well,
I was just about to say we would be calling the matches and announcing the show. Of course.
Well, then there's that.
I figured that went without saying. I mean, that was pretty.
I mean,
I would let Samantha do one or two.
Yeah. For
she
sure.
She can hang out.
For sure. But yeah, that was fun.
That would
but
be
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to Mania in a couple of weeks. And then, of course, as we mentioned earlier, SHW 49 coming up April 14th. So still got some time before that one. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, we'll get maybe some match announcements, and we'll be able to start kind of previewing the upcoming show. But until then, I mean, you got WrestleMania to look forward to. You got plenty of other shows to check out, and obviously keep up or check out the SHW shows on IWTV, as we mentioned, and all that good stuff. So get all caught up. But before we let you guys go, I do want one more last plug for my St. Broderick's charity event, which is tomorrow. As you're watching this, it's going to be from noon to 4 at O'Reilly's Pub in Sandy Springs. We are raising money that goes towards childhood cancer research and treatments. And then we're also shaving our heads in solidarity with the little kids that lose their hair during their cancer treatments. So I think at this point we have around 40 shavees. And I think there's still going to be some people that are signing up. We set the goal at 70K. When I checked this past Monday, we were at 41K. And usually the final week before the event is when the big push, like we'll see that number bump up quite a bit. And then the day of the event, we usually get a lot more donations as well. So we're hoping to break that goal. And I'll be emceeing, and I want to give a special shout out to a couple of our production folks from SHW Wrestling Snapshots. Corey Tatum will be in the house taking some photos. There's going to be guys, remember how they had at the wrestling awards show, Georgia Wrestling Awards, they had the backdrop and the little red carpet with the red velvet ropes, right? So what we're going to do is we have a St. Baldrick's backdrop, a green carpet with green velvet ropes. So So if you're there, come hang out, check out. And we got photo props with silly hats and, Hulk Hogan boas and, necklaces and glasses and all kinds of stuff. So come get your picture taken on the green carpet at the event. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So Corey's going to be there taking photos. And then also our very own Susie from SHW will be there shooting some video and getting some highlights of the action as well. So it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. It's it's kind of like little kids get excited for Christmas every year, and they just get so excited they can't sleep the night before. That's how I am on the nights before St. Baldrick's, because it's just a fun big event that It's become a big family. This is actually my 16th year doing it.
Wow.
And so yeah, it's kind of like I say, we have the mini reunions every month for SHW. This is
Yeah.
our big like annual reunion for a lot of the St. Baldrick's people, because you get a lot of the same people that come in and shave their heads, and then just like at SHW, you see new faces as well. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the new folks and
Very cool.
all my old friends as
Great
well.
cause. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So can't
That's
wait
awesome.
for that. Again, if you're interested or want to donate or you want to know any more about it, just follow me on social media at @BDouble on air. And I've been posting about it all week, so you can find all the info you need to find there. But other than that, you guys got anything left for the crazy crowd out there that's watching along with us?
Hope you guys had a great St. Patrick's Day. Don't drink all the green beer. Stay out of the Green River, and watch out for little leprechauns.
They'll pinch you if you're not wearing green.
Sheesh.
They'll
what the
steal your
world.
gold.
Yikes. We don't want that.
I don't have any gold, so I'm good, I guess.
Yeah,
You have
Look,
gold
I'm
behind you over there.
sure do. Right up there. All that gold.
Solid, you're right. Solid
all
gold.
your,
I'm not gonna-
all your championships and
Yep.
That's right.
trophies and yeah. I
Solid
recognize
gold. Yep.
them. There it
Solid.
is.
All right.
Yes, that's
Awesome.
it for me.
Very good. Very good.
All right. Well, hey, we will see you guys next time right here on the old podcast. But until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
Boom.